Hi, everybody. Hi, Year 5 parents. Thank you for attending the session today. With me, myself here, Mr. Phil Waterworth, the Vice Principal for Primary, and we've also got Miss Kyla Smith, who is our Head of Year 5 as well. And I'm very excited to invite along Hannah, who will be leading most of the session today. And I am now going to hand over to her. If you do have any questions, I'm sure that Hannah will answer most of them throughout the session. However, Miss Smith and myself are in the chat. If you want to post anything in there, we will be more than happy to answer them as well. So I'll hand over to Hannah. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your patience, parents. Technology isn't always as fun as it's cracked up to be. I am going to give you a lot of information over the next kind of like half an hour or so. As so said, please feel free to pop questions in the chat. But fingers crossed, I'll answer the majority of them as we kind of go along. Let me just introduce myself properly first. My name is Hannah. Myself and my husband, Brian, own and run the Adventure Centre. It is kind of like our baby here. My kind of background is 14 years in the industry, situated all over the world. My husband's is 18, and we've been here in the Middle East for 11. So we've been here for quite some time. We do have a massive passion for not only outdoor education, but a really high standard of outdoor education and making sure children have such a positive experience in the outdoors, whether that be, outdoor learning in terms of skills. But a lot of that go hand in hand with life skills, things like confidence boosting, things like team building, things like leadership skills. And for us, it's really important that your child takes that away from camp. Like, that is the purpose. Yes, for the kids, it's all about fun and having like that, an amazing time away. But for us, we really want them to take something meaningful that will stay with them for a long, long time. What we kind of specialize in is progressional programs. So we do have, multiple year groups. I know from James Weck. And we kind of make sure that children, one, not only are not repeating, the same activities over and over again, but if there is something similar in an activity, that there is progression there. For example, maybe they've climbed on a rock wall before. When they come back to us, they might climb out on a real mountain. So we try and make sure that they do have that continuation of learning and it's not kind of stagnating at all. We are really big on sustainability. We are a no single-use plastic site. The kids get given water bottles and wristbands when they get to camp. These are kind of made out of 100% recycled materials. So they are kind of like small, cool, teachable moments for them. The last thing your child will do before they leave is they will get to plant a tree. We kind of gift the school a tree. They'll plant it in our orchard. They'll put their year group on it. They name it. We went through a really weird Rick Astley phase last year. There was a lot of Ricks in our orchard. But, the kids love it. And if they ever come back to camp, they can see it growing. But also, if you ever go up to Hatta, it's an area that's open to public on weekends. So it's something that they kind of sometimes like to show their family as well, which is kind of really cool. In terms of being on site, we try not to have any mobile devices at all. We'll liaise kind of with the school with this, but for us, it is like a safety hazard. We can't kind of have children having access to their phones at all times, purely just because we can't monitor them all the time. We will liaise with the school, whether they get an hour or whether we say no at all to phones. But for us, it is something that we do feel really strongly about, purely because, especially when you're at home, you can control like what they're searching, what they're sharing, everything like that.
I forgot to put his iPad.
Oh, sorry.
I forgot.
Oh, if we can keep microphones muted, and if you want to ask me any questions, we'll pop them in at the end. And we try not to have any electronic devices at all.
It's here.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Another thing that I want to quickly touch on when it comes to devices is there's been a really big influx in Apple tags the last couple of years. Again, from a safeguarding point of view, we request that you don't put them in. We're not going to tell you that you can or you can't. But for us, if your child goes past a petrol station, if someone drives closely to the bus, anybody within a vicinity of that Apple tag that has an Apple phone will be able to pick up and track that GPS. So it does become a safety issue. So please just keep that in mind. And secondly, we do get a lot of parents that kind of ring camp and say, Hannah, my child hasn't moved for the last kind of 6 hours. Are they okay? And I say, yeah, of course they're okay. Why? And it's because their Apple tag hasn't moved. Now the bags just stay in the room. So sometimes they can be a little bit more kind of a nuisance than they are help. So just to kind of keep that in mind, if that is something that you wanted to do. How we kind of work as providers, which is why I think that we are one of the leading providers here in the UAE, is just because our standard of not only program and kind of site stuff like that, but the quality of the sessions that we have, you know, the quality of the instructors that we train up and have on sessions is so high. For us, again, safety is massive. It's paramount in everything that we do. We actually almost kind of operate as a British company here. So things like our high ropes tower, our kit, our staff, we actually fly somebody out from the UK, from the European Ropes Course Association, to make sure that they're signed off not only to UAE standard, but also to European and British standard, which does kind of just boost that up and make sure that your children are 100% safe while they're away with us. Another huge part of kind of like what I think creates a good camp is trying to make sure that we are reinforcing positive memories throughout the whole thing. You know, we want to make sure that children get a really good experience. We want to make sure that parents get a really good experience, and we want to make sure your teachers get a really good experience, because, you know, the kind of the image I always use is, you know, you get a lot of kind of adults that maybe never go camping ever again because they had one really bad experience. We really want children to kind of develop at their own pace in that way and make sure that they feel comfortable in the environment that we're setting out for them. That's why a really big part of what we do is we use a concept called challenge by choice. So even if some of the activities, you know, might seem a little bit daunting to your child, might seem daunting to you, we do have a policy where no child is forced to do anything they don't want to do. Yes, we're going to encourage them. We're going to be their biggest cheerleaders. But at the end of the day, if you force a child to do something that they're really not comfortable with, it's going to make a really negative, lasting impression, and they might not then again try it ever again. If a child does get to a point where something just really scares them, we have a couple of ways of dealing with this. For us, we really don't like having children sitting out or missing an activity, because again, it feels like a punishment because they can't do something. So we prefer to, you know, them to come and talk to us. We talk to them individually and see how they're feeling. And then we can always move them to other activities if that's the case as well. So if you are worried that your child will either be sat out because they're nervous, it's just not going to happen while they're away. We do have an award on camp. I won't go into all the boring details right now, but kind of the 6 kind of main things that we like to highlight on camp through a man that we celebrate called Tom Crean, are things like that resilience, that grit, that independence, you know, having courage not only to do things, but also to kind of be brave enough to say that they can't, and compassion as a team. That's a huge one for us. They're going to be like obviously in teams of 12, and they really do become really close knit. Even if they're not super best friends with that group, those memories that they'll have together will last for years and years and years to kind of come. Independence is also a big one that we talk about with the children quite a lot. That does start at home. So, you know, I do always ask parents things like, when they're packing their bags, please don't pack them for them. Please don't get nannies to pack their bags for them. If you can, get them involved. I'm not saying they have to do it on their own, because let's be honest, the kids wouldn't know what to pack, you know, at all. We end up with all sorts, but get them involved in the process. It's really important that children, you know, are aware of what is in their bag, what they've brought to camp, you know, and it helps them again with that independence when they get to camp as well. So if your child does come on the Year 5 trip, they will be staying up in JA Hatta Hotel with us. It's about an hour and a half, an hour 45 on a bus from Dubai. So it's kind of like far enough for the children to feel like they're on the moon, but actually not in that far away in reality. It is a beautiful hotel, and we accommodate the whole left side of campus, which does have no public access during the week. I do want to take this opportunity to please ask you, we do not allow any parents on camp while your child is away. That's for visitation, that's for checking in. You know, if you think, oh, my kid's away, I'll go for a weekend away as well, please don't. If for cultural reasons, medical reasons, that you want to be near to your child, please just get in touch with the school. We'll help you find somewhere else in the area, but you cannot be on site. Part of coming to camp is you do sign a waiver that does state that if you do show up to camp, you and your child will be asked to leave. It's not fun for anyone. We don't like doing it, but it is a safety issue, because for us, you might be looking for one child. We're trying to safeguard 75, 80. So that is a really, really strict rule that we do have. So please just bear that in mind. The student rooms are on the left-hand side of the hotel. As you can see, there are two corridors. We have an all-male corridor and an all-female corridor. The male teachers will bookend the boys, and the female teachers will bookend the girls. We also have male and female duty staff on in the nighttime, so we're there to kind of help if needed. Outside of the room is manned CCTV. So if we do have any, sleepwalkers, or if we do have any kind of mischievous people on camp, we do get notifications when the children leave their rooms. So we'll be able to kind of monitor anything like that. So they are super safe while they're away with us. We also do have female and male security guards that patrol the whole night as well. So that kind of has that extra layer inside as well. Inside the rooms, there are 4 to a room, so it's 4 single beds. We couldn't get them all in the shop, but it's 4 single beds to a room. They are all en suite, so once they're in, that's it. They don't have to come out again. The doors are one-way lock. So in the nighttime, the keys are all collected by the teachers, and that means that nobody can get into the room, but the children can get out if they need to in an emergency, or if they need to come and find their teacher at any time. We do ask children to pack a sleeping bag or a blanket. Now, a lot of people say, but why? They're in a hotel. The reason being, there's 2 main reasons. The first reason is this is meant to be an introduction to camp, so that when they get older, they have that experience. And the kids, they actually miss out on that if they're just staying in a hotel. But secondly, which is the more important reason, is you will always get some children that sleep with the AC on at -4 because they're Eskimos, and you'll always get some children that don't sleep with any AC on at all. So it's always better for us to have extra. We obviously have a couple on site, but if there's 80 students that don't have anything, we don't have that resources. So that's why we do ask for that to be on the packing list. If you don't have a sleeping bag, please don't go out and like spend, loads of money on one. Carrefour do one for like 15 dirham, or you can just send them with a small blanket. They won't need, anything big. They're in beautiful rooms. It's not like they're in a tent or anything. But that's kind of why it is on there, just to kind of clarify in that respect. Food is the most important part of camp. I've been doing this for a very long time, and you can have the most incredible activities. You can have the most incredible views, incredible places. If you're trying to do those things with hungry children, it's just not going to be fun. So we do have on-site kitchens. We get all of our food from the 4-star hotel. So it is beautiful big buffets. We do try and have something healthy at every meal, but I'm not going to lie to you, it is very kid-friendly. It is very carb-heavy. It is, steak and chips and mac and cheese and spaghetti bolognese, pizzas, stuff like that. It is going to be stuff that they actually want to eat because they're going to need to eat while they're away with us. As I said, we'll keep on top of water. Our guys are really, really prepped. And during meal times, our guys will actually sit amongst the students, just to, keep an eye and make sure that, plates are full and people are eating properly, because sometimes in new environments, it can be kind of, kids can kind of go inside themselves a little bit. So our guys will be keeping an eye on, they have a table each designated to them, and they'll kind of make sure that everybody on that table is eating enough as well. We do have obviously vegetarian options at every meal. All of the meat that we serve is halal. And because we do have that on-site kitchen element, if there is anything, for your child, whether it be medical issue, whether it be, an allergy, whether it be a sensory issue, whatever it is, please, please, please just pop it on our medical forms. There's nothing, too daft, too silly. We want to know as much as we possibly can to make sure your child's stay with us is really, really good. And we do make it very clear to the children that if there is nothing that they like, they can always come and speak to us as well. It's really important that these children get that food in them while they're away with us. So if food is an issue, please let that issue be gone. It's one of my most favorite things. And we do make sure that there is lots for them. On the food note, we are very aware that kids want to bring snacks to camp for, midnight snacks at 8:30 because they're so tired, they're asleep at 9. But, just a couple of things to bear in mind when you are packing snacks for your children. One is we are a no nut site. So we don't allow any form of nut, peanut butter, Snickers, Reese's Pieces, anything like that. So please just don't pack them that, because we will have to take it off them. And secondly, they do not need tons and tons and tons of food. I've had parents try and bring McDonald's and pot noodles and, big factory packs of, strawberry laces on camps. They do not need it. They get fed so much. They'll have lunch, literally the first activity when we arrive. They'll have snacks in the afternoon. They'll have dinner. Then they'll have treats at campfire. So they will get loads and loads of food throughout the day. A little one for their rooms and a little one for the bus is grand, but please don't take loads and loads with them. In terms of the buses, so we provide all the buses. We have been using Star Tourism since the beginning. They actually facilitate quite a few schools in Dubai, so they are school worthy. And the journey with the children will start obviously at school, and our guys will be there to chaperone them. So I know the school are amazing, the teachers are amazing, but we'll come down in the morning. You'll get to meet all the team that are going to be on your trip with the kids. And we will kind of get their bags on, we'll get them all hyped up, we'll make sure they've got seatbelts on for the whole time, etc. We'll sing Wheels on the Bus and get them all giddy. And it kind of start to form those bonds that will really help when they do get to camp as well. As I said earlier, for the kids, fun is always going to be number one. For us, it is always going to be safety. From our programs to our staff, to safety vehicles, everything, as I mentioned earlier, to the high ropes and all of our kit being checked off from the European Ropes Course Association. We always say that you just can't cut corners with the kind of things that we do. Our hospital is really close by, touch wood. We won't have to go there, but it is literally 6 minutes away. So if there's anything, we always just say, let's, rather be sure. If your child ever does have to go to hospital, please know that we will ring you. You know your child best, you know what you want for your child. So if there is anything, we will get in touch with you. Children are covered under our insurance from the moment they step on that bus. So please don't send any med cards, any insurance cards, anything like that. The only thing that we do require from the students and yourselves is Emirates ID. The rules changed here a few years ago, and it is mandatory. Unfortunately, there's no way around this. Basically, CID, see it as a physical contract that we're allowed to take your children away. So if we get a CID check and we don't have an Emirates ID, it can become a really big issue. And secondly, if your child does for any reason have to go to hospital, they cannot be seen without a parent or guardian or someone holding their Emirates ID. So for us, it is just to cover all bases. to make sure that we are super safe at all times. And that is why we ask it. All that happens to them is we collect them the morning of, they go into the safe on camp, and then we take them out the day of your return, count them 1,000,000 times, and give them back to you when we get back to school. Our instructors, have to be honest, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but they are the kind of the glue that holds all of this operation together. They're an incredible team. Lots of them have been with us for many years. A few of them are ex-teachers. You know, all of them have to have DBS checks to work with children, and they all have such a massive passion for both teaching and outdoor education. And I think that's really what makes the difference when you come to camps like this, to have that experience behind a lot of our staff. All of our guys are first aiders. They're all lifeguards. So say like the children are on a swimming activity and there might be lifeguards provided by the hotel. For us, we will put our lifeguards on as well, because at the end of the day, we are taking your children away, not the hotel we're going to. So again, we always put that extra layer of protection in at all times. And our guys are on duty 24/7. Obviously, they tag in and out. We don't work them massively, but they are on duty 24/7. I often get parents ask me, oh, what if my son, he's a bit daft, or he might wander off, he might get, go and get his jumper from his room and he'll lose everyone. It's not going to happen. They're always in their groups. They're always with their instructors. Our instructors, are heavily trained. They come out for a whole month with us beforehand. They kind of get drilled into them, counting heads in, counting heads out. And they are on duty, as I said, at all times. So your children are never going to be on their own in that respect. Last but not least, I know the school have an amazing comms team. They do loads of pictures, videos, stuff like that. We also do have an incredible media team. This is opt-in, opt-out. If you'd like it, great. If you don't want it, great. It's completely up to you. It's a free service that we do purely because I don't think my parents got any pictures of me when I was a kid. We'll do, if you opt in, we'll just make sure your children are in 3 or 4 updates per day on our Facebook site. They'll be on videos and reels on our Instagram. And at the end of the week, we do highlights of the week from all the trips that have come to us that week. So you'll kind of see, again, the experience that they are getting, and kind of like what they're up to as well. If you don't know much about us as a company, I would really recommend going on our social media, have a little look, see what you feel like. We've got your year 7s up at the minute. We've got the year 8s up next week. So you might get a little bit of a feel of what to expect. Your child might get a feel of what to expect. And hopefully it might ease some anxiousness in that regard as well. The last kind of 2 things I'm just going to quickly say before I open the floor to any questions are, first of all, just in terms of packing sentimental things, please just be aware. So say if your child has a bunny or a teddy or something that they can't sleep without, if we can promote, let's say, their favorite one in the whole world to stay with mom and dad, they're going to look after mom and dad or look after siblings, and bring their second favorite to camp, just in case, it gets packed in the wrong bag on the last day, or maybe Teddy wants to stay at the adventure center for a little bit longer. We'll always get them back to you, but if it is going to create that negative memory, we'd much prefer them not to bring their second one, and we can make sure that gets back to you in the next couple of days. And the second thing is, please, if you can name everything. I know at the end of these trips, I know the teachers love taking back, big black bags full of lost property. So please, if you could name it, it just makes our jobs a lot easier when it comes to dishing that out at the end of the trip. I'll go into the chat and see if we have any questions, but from now, I know you'll be able to get the medical forms, which are online, and you'll get packing lists, you'll get everything that you kind of need in terms of deadlines, which will all be sent out to you. The water bottles that we give away, everybody gets one, so it doesn't matter if they've got their own or not. I know if your child came last year, probably not in year 5, but if you've had siblings that came, because everything that we use is sustainable, it did get caught up in the COVID rush. So we didn't have access to those for a couple of years, but they're back this year with a bang. So lots of people are happy about that. But no, they get given to everybody, regardless. And then these are the social, they're the same social media accounts that were shared last week. We will send you out. So once everything's confirmed, once we have the amount of children that are going, the finalized program will go out. Because obviously it depends on how many kids we get, how many activities we get in a day. You know, the more kids we kind of put more on, because we have to make sure that everybody's doing something and everyone's busy at all times. So we will finalize that once we know the numbers, and that will be sent out to you. And then in terms of departure day and arrival day, that will also be sent out on arrival back at school on the last day. I know the school comms are amazing at it, but we'll also put updates on if we're going to be late or anything, if we're due back to school a little bit after time, etc. But hopefully, fingers crossed, if anything, we should be early in that respect. Let's have a little look. Thanks for the question. Yeah, we have 88 places, 2 p.m. on Monday. There will be marshmallows and a bonfire. Of course, it's camp. We can't not have, you know, marshmallows. And we do have halal marshmallows. We do have vegetarian marshmallows. And we do provide for anything else. If you give us any other issues, medical wise, we can make sure they're there. But we always have those just in case as well. Let's have a little look. There'll be 4 children to each room, so 4, so there's lots of space for them. We want to make sure that they're, you know, comfy, etc. If they'd like to bring their swimming goggles, they are more than welcome to. We also have snorkel masks, so, you know, if children forget them, don't worry, we'll have them on by the pool as well. So if they can't sleep, if they can't see underwater with their own goggles, then we will provide them with some so they don't miss out, if that makes sense. Choice of friends. I know in the past, Sir, Miss, I don't know if I'm stepping out of line here, but they do, it's really, really good. They'll figure out who's going, and then they'll give the kids a couple of options of who they'd like to be with. Yeah, that's good, getting a nod. And then they'll be definitely, you know, make sure that somebody from that list is in their group with them. We need to make sure, 1, that everybody has somebody that they know in their room, and 2, we need to make sure they're actually going to sleep, you know, for at least a little bit of when they're kind of on camp. There will be a packing list going out. The one thing I would just say is please, please, please don't spend any money on the packing list. Say, like, for a head torch, if you don't have one, don't worry, we've got spares. You know, if, you know, there's anything on there. The only real big things is sleeping bag. Any personal medication will go straight to the school in Ziploc bags if you could. As much information as you possibly can on there, on a piece of paper inside, just so we know, you know, the school know exactly what to do, and we know exactly what to do in that respect. So personal medication, sleeping bags, clothes, swimsuits, but all, you know, stuff that they don't mind getting mucky, or they don't mind having a bit of fun in, they don't mind falling over and footballing. Please, nothing new and shiny that is going to get, you know, they're going to be upset if they get wrecked while they're at camp. Any more questions? I think I've gone through all the ones here. Sir, Miss, if you'd like to add anything, please feel free. But if anyone does have any questions, please pop them in and I'll be happy to answer.
There's just one question there, Hannah, about footwear.
Footwear?
The best footwear to wear, more than 1 pair.
No, 100%. Footwear, just 1 pair of trainers is absolutely fine. We do just ask that if they can, they bring a pair of either water shoes or Crocs or something like that they can wear by the pool, because we don't want them to be getting in and out of shoes because they get slippy and stuff like that. So a pair of Crocs. We try not to do flip-flops because I don't know why, but children slip a lot and fall over a lot in flip-flops. But if we could do like a pair of Crocs, you know, and trainers, absolutely fine for 2 pairs of shoes, and they'll do them perfectly. Yeah, I think for the year 7s and 8s, what they did for ID, I think they tried to get some of them in a little bit before. Oh, Mrs. Smith is on it. On it already. But no, they're amazing with them. And again, we'll make sure that they're super, super safe at all times.
No, thanks, Hannah. I just want to add at the end there, thank you for presenting today. It looks very exciting. I actually wish I was going myself. As Miss Smith and I were listening in the background, we were just talking about we've done around about 7 residentials ourselves now, and we can't advocate enough how amazing they are and how much it really benefits the students. And you can see that when they come back into school as well in terms of their academics and progress. So I would definitely recommend students attend this exciting trip that is upcoming as well.
Amazing.
Okay, if there are no more questions, okay, but you do think of questions in the next couple of days, please feel free to email class teachers or the head of year, Miss Smith, who is here with me as well. There will be, and I know Miss Smith has just put her email address as well. She beat me to it in the chat. And we hope you enjoyed the session. Once again, thank you to Hannah. Thank you to the parents who attended today. We will be sharing this out as a recording as well for those parents who didn't quite manage to make it, so they will have an opportunity to see this. But as the letter states, Miss Smith will correct me if I'm wrong, but on Monday, the 9th of October, 2 p.m, that is when the sign-up process will open. She's nodding. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much everyone again, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.
Perfect.